Hello again, Michael Ware with the Iowa Firearms Coalition's Warrior Wednesday. We've got Riley Bowman with us today. And we spoke just a minute ago when we were preparing to make this recording about how I should introduce him. And the fact of the matter is, when we get people like Riley on here, they have a list of accolades and bona fides so long, it's much easier if I hand it over to them and say, hey, Riley, do us a solid and walk through who you are and what's going on in your background. So let's do it that way. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go.
Do you want me to go ahead and go right now with oh, you're pulling up the site. I got you. Nice. Yeah, so concealedcarry.com. That's I'm the second in command at concealedcarry.com. I think it's been maybe a while, but my compadre Jacob Paulson, president of the company, has been on the program before. But the way to think of concealedcarry.com is we want to be the place on the internet for all things concealed carry related information, education, training, products. That's concealedcarry.com. Really, we're like three different things: a media company producing media and content for people to consume, to learn, to study, to grow. A training company. We've been doing training for over 10 years as a company. It's actually kind of where we started, and that's where we're going to kind of, I think, focus our conversation today is on the training aspect and what we've been doing the last few years. One of our big focuses has been our training conference. And then the third thing is that we sell products. So, media, training, and product sales, holsters, as you can see there, medical gear, all kinds of accessories and training products and things like that. And as I mentioned, I'm the number 2 guy at the business here, keeping things running and keeping things hopping. Jacob, as I mentioned, is the president, and he and I have worked together now over 10 years doing this whole thing. But we got a team of people behind us. I got 7 people that work for the company, and just everybody's got their part and their hat that they wear. Me personally, I'm a longtime shooter, instructor. I've been instructing 12, 13, 14. I think this is my 15th year I've been an instructor. Got into law enforcement a number of years ago, became an agency instructor, got certified in kind of all the things. Later on down the path, I got involved into competitive shooting to kind of supplement the tactical side of things and to learn how to shoot better and more efficiently. Actually a Grand Master USPSA competitor, sponsored by HK and Gray Guns, and I love teaching people what I've learned over the years. So how's that for the intro?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, okay, so you were right when you said some of these folks have been on before. Jacob's been on. We've had on Haggard, Adam Winch. Sorry. So it's Chuck Haggard, Adam Winch. There might have been 1 or 2 others. So we have a long-standing relationship there. And some of the people that support you are some of our trusted partners, like Mountain Man and Palm. We use those folks all the time, and we encourage our members to use them, to buy from them. And I mean, you know how this works, Riley. The best way that this works out is when we have a relationship of reciprocity. So when we find somebody like you that offers quality stuff and supports quality items, whether they're tangible goods or services, it's wise if we use those people. So I always appreciate that. Now, when you guys reached out, it's just been a week or so ago, and said, hey, what do you think about talking about this? It was in regard to a specific item that you've got coming up. And I'll move these screens around. For those of you listening, we'll describe it. And he just offered his a little bit of his bio, but I was scrolling through concealedcarry.com. You're going to want to go check that out. So I'll move now to the Guardian Conference, and that's just like it sounds, guardianconference.com. Tell us a little bit about this. We really need to understand what's going on here.
Well, as you mentioned a moment ago, several of the folks that have been on your show in the past, Adam and Chuck both are instructors at our conference this year. Chuck's been an instructor at our conference every year of the conference, and this is the 6th year. This is the 6th annual Guardian Conference later this year in 2026. Adam's been, this is either his 2nd or 3rd time, I can't remember which now, but he's been a few times teaching at the conference as well. There's a lot of other great training events in the industry. There's other training conferences. There's some that are well known, that are better known than even ours, which is totally cool. And I've been to maybe not all of those training conferences, but a lot of them, and have taught and contributed at some of those conferences as well. We actually had the idea probably, golly, it's been every bit of the last 10 years, just kind of this idea floating in the back of our minds, like, hey, what if we put on a training conference? Because as I mentioned, training is a part, it's really a deep rooted part of our identity at concealedcarry.com. In the beginning, before we even did product sales, that's all we did was training. We taught a lot of classes nationwide through a network of instructors that mostly concealed carry classes, but not only, not just concealed carry, some other classes in, defensive pistol and, those kinds of things. And but that's been kind of our identity for a long, long time. And we just had this idea of bringing the training more to the masses, to put together a larger scale, high quality training event. And we were able to finally pull it off for the first time in 2021. It took a lot of effort planning that first one. We had a lot of learning that occurred because of it. And I'll tell you, there's actually kind of an interesting story behind that first year's event that if you'd like me to go into, I'd be happy to. That I think is kind of interesting. But Jacob and I in our team were working really hard to put together the first annual Guardian Conference. And, we're lining up all these great instructors. Again, Chuck Haggard was one of those that was there at the first one. We had a number of other great instructors. Matt Little would be another name I would drop. I think Jeff Gonzalez taught at that first year's conference. We had, just a bunch of great guys teaching at that first one. And we were so looking forward to putting it together and putting it on. And unfortunately, about a month before that first conference, Jacob got sick, like really, really bad sick. It started just, he didn't feel well. He had a fever, it just kind of seemed like a flu or a cold of some kind, something going on there. He just didn't feel good for a few days. And I remember I was actually traveling to a class that I was teaching. I was traveling to teach at another conference, a different conference. And I remember talking to him on the phone as he's telling me, how things are not going so well. And that he was thinking he's going to go to the doctor or go to the hospital because he'd been to the doctor a couple of times already. And next thing I know, I'm finding out that like he's hospitalized. And I was like, whoa, what is this all about? And come to find out, he had a really, really bad infection internally. I think it started like in his liver or something. It was pretty crazy, and no idea why or how that happened or came to be. He generally lives a pretty healthy lifestyle. He doesn't drink or smoke or anything like that. And all of a sudden, he's got this infection, and he couldn't attend that first conference. And I ended up, together with support from our staff, having to kind of take over and finish the planning and final preparations and running that whole event while I was also trying to teach as one of the instructors at our first conference. And Jacob was literally bedridden and in a hospital for like 24 days or something like that. That's how bad it was. He dang near died. So that's kind of the interesting story. The first year of the conference is, here Jacob and I had this dream for all these years and start working towards it and planning it. And then, he almost ends up dying that first year. And so he wasn't able to be there, and that was pretty crazy. But we had a great first year of the conference. We were so glad to have him back for the second year. And I'll just tell you, Michael, that each year we've put on the Guardian Conference, it just keeps getting bigger and better, especially on the better side. Like we learn from every year we do this. We always have, takeaways from each year of this year, this went great. This, but this we could have done better at or whatever. And it just keeps getting bigger and better year over year over year. So this is something that we continue or we anticipate to continue doing the Guardian Conference for hopefully for forever. I mean, we'd love to, maybe talk to you again in 20 years and be like, hey man, like it's now the 25th, 26th year of the conference kind of thing. It's pretty awesome. We got everything from people probably expect firearms training. Well, there's definitely that. We got a lot of pistol training. The first few years, it was just mostly focused on pistol, but we also have had all of the years medical training, legal training, combatives training. We've had force on force training. We've got, let's see, Chuck is teaching pepper spray classes, OC spray, and managing unknown contacts. And I mean, the idea, the goal behind the Guardian Conference from the beginning has been, we want to offer a bunch of, like, all the different training disciplines, if you will, in one place, in one event. That it's not just, because I've been to conferences where it's mostly just firearm training. I've been to some that are a little bit heavier, focused on other things. But this is really, we want people to come. We want them to get training in all of the things that matter. Because yes, a gun, a pistol, the use of that does matter. And it is important, and it is something that's difficult to master. You got to, train and practice a lot to master the pistol. But we know that also the knowledge of use of force laws, super important, like maybe more important than the use of the gun, even, because if you make the wrong decision on using the gun in the first place because you don't understand use of force, well, that's a problem. We know that people get injured all the time, even without guns being involved. People get cut, they get in a car accident, they fall off a roof, whatever it is. They're hiking and they fall and get really bad hurt, whatever. So medical training, super important. So that's a part of the conference as well. Understanding how to be better situationally aware and managing unknown contacts, meaning people you don't know, strangers, like stranger danger, basically, right? Like, concepts surrounding that Chuck Haggard usually teaches at our conference and is well known for teaching that stuff. So all of those things are part of the package, and then a couple of years ago, we, just because of interest from attendees, hey, what about some carbine classes? What about some shotgun classes? So the last couple of years, we've had shotgun and carbine classes as well. So people are able to bring rifles or borrow rifles at the event and learn to train on those. Shotguns, the same thing. We have a bunch of loaners in case someone doesn't have one or they don't want to bring one. They can still jump in those shotgun classes. And then I feel like there was one other thing I was going to mention. Oh, force on force. That's another, critical component that we want to make sure people have the opportunity to do, because that's not often available at a lot of different facilities. And then we also have, every year of the conference, we've had low light training as well, which, again, not something that a lot of people get to do a whole lot of, because it's challenging to do. You got to have good qualified instructors that know what they're doing, and you got to have a facility that allows you or is able to be set up to do low light training. So we actually do the low light portion of the conference off-site at a nearby indoor range, because then we can control that lighting environment a lot better and make it truly dark so that people can see what it's like shooting and training in a true low light environment. And so there's opportunities to get low light training as well.
There are people listening right now that say that this sounds fine. Sounds like Riley's a pretty decent cat. I don't mind listening to Michael's a little bit. But here's the thing. There's some that are, or maybe many that are saying right now, sounds like a well-rounded conference, but I don't know if it's for me. Maybe I won't use it. I can't tell you how many people reach out to me just in a short swath of IFC membership or whatever else and say, listen, I am so glad that I took this training that you guys offer, or this training that you recommended, because there was a car wreck that I happened to come across of, and I was able to help out. Or this happened in class. Or here's a perfect example. Honest Engine, this literally happened yesterday. Granted, I was doing volleyball stuff with my daughter, who plays pretty much year round now, but I was gone from church. I'm not gone very often. I was gone from church, and one of our congregants, a sister in Christ that I care about very much, keeled over. Now, I don't know, have any follow up on that. I don't know what happened, but I think maybe, I don't know, maybe her blood pressure was low. Maybe it was, maybe her sugars were out of whack. I couldn't tell you. But we have a church security team, and we have done things like training together. We practice together, and we know that the likelihood of a AK-47 wheeling gunman is probably low, but we know there's a high likelihood of somebody slipping in the parking lot and get hurt bad. or like what would happen, maybe there's a blood sugar issue, or maybe somebody passes out. Those things happen, and those people, I'm told, because I checked in this morning, those people were prepared. They came alongside her. They were able. We have a church security person, and we have a church, what would you call it, a medical bag that's deployed at any given moment out in the pew, so it's right where people are. And they came around her, and they were able to help, got 911 on the phone, stabilized all these things. They came and took care of things, and they were ready because they'd had some training and because they had a plan. So for you guys out there listening and saying, this is nice enough, but it might not be for you, that's wrong. This is for you. You just may not realize it yet.
Absolutely. No, we've seen that, and actually we've gotten stories back from past attendees at the conference that have absolutely put into use the skills they've learned at the conference. You're not going to learn everything, obviously, that you need to know in one weekend of training. I should mention it's 3 days of training, including one of those nights being reserved for low light training. So the reality is, a person, if they attend all the different blocks, can come away with it, in excess of 24 hours of training in just 3 days. Really excellent training. But you learn a lot of critical things in that amount of time, and yeah, absolutely, like how to apply a tourniquet, or how to deal with. I mean, we have people learn from real life experience at the range there. We work really hard to keep everybody healthy and safe while in the event. But as you know, you have 100 plus people come to a training event from all around the country in all different walks of life and different ages and different makeups as far as their health and whatnot. And sometimes you have somebody right there that, like you said, gets their blood sugar or something out of whack, and we got a medic, of course, on site that's able to deal with that, and other people are able to observe and be like, oh, okay, that's what that's like. I mean, so the next time you see somebody starting to speak gibberish or, look a little unsteady on their feet, or just struggling a little bit, maybe you start to recognize what those signs look like a little bit earlier, so you can be a little bit more prepared to deal with something like that you encounter at church or at home or at school or wherever you might be. So yeah, those kinds of things are real. They happen. I carry my Mountain Man Medical trauma kit with me everywhere I go, Michael, and I appreciate you mentioning Mountain Man Medical a moment ago. Mm-hmm. And a few years ago, on my way to a class I was teaching in Alabama, I was firsthand witness to a pretty significant car accident, and that kit got put to use. And I was, pleased that I was able to assist. I mean, not pleased about the incident, of course, but I was there and able, with the tools necessary, to begin applying assistance where it was needed until emergency responders could respond. And also on my return trip from another training event, I put one of our Mountain Man Medical kits to use on another accident scene. So that kind of stuff, it happens, and we've had people on their way to and from, I think, the conference that have had situations where these skills came in handy. So
without a doubt, when you're out in the world, you happen across things. It can happen in your own home. I don't think that people understand how many lives are saved with things as simple as a tourniquet, and you have to be able to put it on and understand how to deploy it and utilize it. I remember a training that IFC put on at a local, actually it was my church a few years ago, and they handed training tourniquets out to people and said, okay, find your pulse, apply this tourniquet, here's where you're going to put it on, close to your armpit, whatever else, and oh, by the way, see how much pressure it's going to take. How many twists of this thing are you going to have to put down in order to make that pulse go away? And there are a lot of people squealing because it hurts. I mean, it hurts Absolutely. A lot. But the truth of the matter is if they're leaking out, this is all you got. You're going to have to keep the blood on the inside of these people, and you're going to have to do what you got to do, even if it's painful, so to avoid these people expiring. And if you don't have those tools and you don't know how to use them, you're arguably in terrible shape. Or maybe the worst case scenario happens. You have to watch the life go out of somebody's eyes. And for lack of going to a training like this and saying, yeah, I want to brush up on my skills, or maybe I don't have any skills. Maybe I need to start here. Maybe the Guardian Conference will offer me all kinds of perspective that I haven't brought to bear yet. And I think that's one of the reasons that I like these kinds of things, primarily because you're going to have the questions asked and answered that you may not have ever even pondered, Riley. And I think that that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let me give you some examples of some other of the courses that were taught at this last year's event, actually, just to give you an idea of, like, these are things that absolutely are useful, including in a day-to-day context. We had one of our instructors, Dan Brady from Apache Solutions, teaching vehicle defense as one of his training blocks at the conference. I mean, how often do you spend time in a vehicle? Driving, commuting, traveling around the country, or whatever it is. And, he covered, I mean, yes, this was about also fighting from within or around the vehicle, but also talking about, what you need to be paying attention to, the kinds of things that you need to be aware of and mindful of as you are in or around a vehicle in various contexts in your day-to-day life. This is, really real life stuff. You go to a gas station, everyone's got to put gas or fuel in their vehicle at some point. It's one of the most vulnerable places you might find yourself in the public space. And we know that there's lots of incidents that happen at convenience stores and gas stations and the like. And so that was a fantastic class. Everyone that went through Dan's vehicle defense class just came out just loving it and feeling a lot more better because of it. We had Caleb Kazi from Lone Star Medics this last year teaching a couple of medical classes, and one that I really liked was one he called medical skills pressure test. And so the idea was to put the students under a little bit of pressure, nothing too crazy, but manageable pressure, to see how they perform when there's a little bit of pressure. You got to deal with some kind of trauma type incident, and he was using fake blood, fake training blood right there on the scene. He was advised that participants in that class brought dirty clothes, or clothes they don't mind getting dirty, or stained and that kind of thing. And man, everybody had a great time in that one as well. A lot of attention the last couple of years, Michael, on things like pistol optics, and we have a couple of classes focused on that. So if people want to learn how to use a pistol optic more effectively, more efficiently, to just be better with it, we had Wayne Dobbs teaching a pistol optic class. We had AJ Zito there teaching a pistol optic class. We had I don't think he did it this year, but I know Brian Hill has taught a pistol optic class. I think he'll be doing that again this next year in 2026, though. So if someone has interest in that, or they've just been kind of, red dot curious, as you might call it, there's a couple opportunities there to learn how to use pistol optics. We've got, I was looking for another example here. Oh, that's right. I mentioned it earlier, but Tyler Tharp, he's a great instructor out of Mississippi, doing some carbine classes. A lot of stuff to be learned there if someone's got interest in that. And Adam Witch, speaking of Adam, you mentioned him earlier. He did a class that like everybody raved about this last year called Worst Case Scenario Fighting Handgun Concepts. And he had students on the ground, in the dirt, rolling around. I mean, just learning how, like, hey, a gunfight is not always ideal. You're not just standing in a static square range, shooting at a static target, but what is it like when the crap hits the fan, so to speak? Yeah. And you got to keep your wits about yourself and know how to handle yourself on your feet, on your knees, on the ground, on your back, whatever position you might find yourself in. You still got to be an effective fighter and able to deploy your weapons. And so he did a great job with that class this last year.
It's funny you mention it like that. It's not often that I'm without. I've got an Emerson Karambit that's starting to look a little ugly. It's been around, and I've got a few more in the same for rainy days. But people like that, that's probably the ugliest knife I've ever seen. I said, well, I don't care about that. And they're like, why that? And I'm like, listen, this isn't the knife that you pull out. Although edge weapon guys would kill me for saying this, but this isn't something you take screws out with. You know, that this is not a screwdriver. It's not a
Right.
utility knife. You don't even use this to open up cardboard boxes when the Brownells ferry shows up with fresh stuff from UPS through UPS, right? You never do that. This karambit is for self-defense only, but it's got a loop that I can run my finger through and deploy one-handed, and it pulls out and it locks and it's ready to go. And they're like, why is that a big deal? I'm like, you ever been rolling around the mud with a guy? You ever been scratching the dirt with somebody or something bad happened and you find yourself one-handed or whatever else, you have to pull a knife and deploy it because your gun's already gone or empty or away from you? I'm like, this is the kind of thing you need to think through because this is what you're down to. So think about what that's going to be like. So for Adam to put on a course like that, is in the thick of things, and to offer those ideas to people is huge. I think it's been, I don't know how many programs ago, it might have been 6 or 8, something like that. I had a gentleman that was talking about blood and whatever else. And I said, well, unfortunately, I figured out an easy way to make that work. When you're handling weapons. He's like, how's that? I'm like, for some reason, I got some weird cut on one of my fingers, on my left hand middle finger, and it plagued me, Riley, for weeks and months. I would tear that thing back open, and for whatever reason, I'm not anemic. I don't have a circulatory issue, but I would bleed like a stuck hog, and I couldn't get it to stop. And it dawned on me one day. Because I do a lot of stippling and those kinds of things for people's polymer firearms, right? I thought, I've always wanted to try this. So I went outside with my smooth standard Glock, whatever, and then one of my ones that I had stippled and made pretty rough. And I got them all greasy with fresh blood and used them and tried to use them, both handed, strong handed, weak handed, whatever else. And then, as you know, and maybe some of the people listening understand this, as time goes on, that stuff isn't slippery and slick anymore. Then it turns sticky and it's a real pain in the keister. Then it starts to, darken up and get hard. And now it's just a mess everywhere. And so people don't think about any of those things when they're saying, I'll be able to hop up, stand in my isosceles stance. I'll be able to draw. And this, especially for the people that don't carry around in the chamber, I'll rack one in, assess, I'll acquire, and then I'll make a decision. I'm like, well, you may have a 1.5 seconds or 2.5 seconds if we're generous for those things to happen, but that's a little unlikely. In fact, it's highly unlikely. So you need to think through and walk through alternatives to the way things are according to my little tiny mind, and then ask yourself, how are they really going to be out in the real world? So that sounds like a really interesting course. And for those of you watching, I'm on the Guardian Conference site, guardianconference.com, under the courses. And I scrolled all the way to the bottom when he's talking about Adam Winch's course, and the description's on here. So as I roll back up through here, you're welcome to sound these off. So you got AJ doing what here?
Yeah, and unfortunately, AJ is not going to be able to be at this year's event, but he did teach red dot performance and handgun performance. He's taught at the conference, I think, almost every year. It's just this year there happened to be a conflict on the schedule. But yeah, he did a great job with those classes this last year. We typically have some representatives from CCW Safe at the event that end up doing the legal classes that I mentioned. They do a fantastic job. I mean, these are some of the most experienced people in the industry where it comes to actual legal defense, because they get involved in actual cases, including some high profile ones. Don West is the National Trial Counsel for CCW Safe, and he is well known for some very successful legal defenses, such as George Zimmerman was one of his clients. Just as a heads up for those that may not know. Point is Don West and his team, Jennifer and Sean, also work with him, and they do a fantastic job of breaking down complex seeming legal concepts for people to make sense of and to be a lot more educated and able to make a lot better decisions when seconds count. And so they did a great job this last year. The class was called Draw the Line, Defensive Display versus Brandishing. And that was a topic that had kind of come up from some past attendees, I think, it's a very common question. Tell us about brandishing and kind of where do we draw the line at? Well, hence the name of the course, with things like brandishing a firearm, and when is that appropriate, when is it not appropriate, or in this case, calling it defensive display, which is really what we're talking about is, when is it appropriate to defensively display a firearm or to introduce a firearm into a situation. So they broke that down, like I said, very simply for everyone to learn and go, okay, now I understand when my gun needs to stay in the holster and not be involved, and when it is appropriate for it to become involved, so that I don't get myself in hot water. CCW Safe's one of the they are the presenting sponsor of the event, and it's convenient because they are based in Oklahoma, which is also the location of the Guardian Conference. I should have mentioned that, or maybe earlier, for those that may not know, but it was important to us when I talked earlier about the creation of the Guardian Conference and kind of everything that we envisioned it to be. We wanted it to be this kind of big variety smorgasbord of class offerings, but we also wanted it to be as easy and simple for people to attend as possible. So it was very important to us, even though our business is based in Colorado, it would be really simple for us to put on an event here in Colorado, but we wanted to put the event in a location that was as centrally located in the country as possible. And we scoped out a bunch of different locations. We looked at ranges in Kansas and Missouri and Texas, and we landed on the facility in Oklahoma, where we've been all 6 years, which is the Oklahoma City Gun Club, which is an amazing facility. By the way, it's an awesome gun range just north of Oklahoma City. And so criteria that had to be met for the Guardian Conference was that we wanted it to be centrally located. We wanted it to be near a major airport, which Oklahoma City's got a major airport, and it's pretty easy to fly in and out of there. The range is only about 40 minutes from the airport. We wanted it to be close to amenities, to hotels, to places for food and things like that. And so, sometimes there's ranges I've been to events at different ranges where it's a nice facility, but you're an hour plus from the airport, or you're 30 minutes from hotels, or 40 minutes from like a decent place to eat.
Mm-hmm.
No, not the case with the Guardian Conference. It's like not even 15 minutes from a number of excellent hotels that people, most of our attendees end up staying at, and we get group rate discounts for attendees at those. There's 3 hotels right there that are all blocked together, that just right off a major exit of I think it's I-35, and people able to stay there 15 minutes or less from the range. And there's plenty of places to grab a bite to eat, although pretty much every meal at the conference is taken care of for attendees. And so there's a light breakfast provided each day. There's lunches provided each day, and most of the dinner meals are provided by sponsors of ours, or there's a special meal on one of the nights that's for what we call our VIP attendees, and that's for members of our membership program called Guardian Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And so Guardian Nation members only get involved or get invited to that VIP dinner, but the other 2 nights of the event, there's dinners provided. Even on Thursday evening, which is the night before the training kicks off on Friday for the weekend, that's kind of a early check-in and come in and get signed in and register, or kind of get your registration confirmed on site, if you will. People come in on Thursday evening typically, and we have pizza available, just a simple thing there, but pizza's brought in and people are able to grab a bite to eat, come in, check in, get your schedule for the weekend, meet some people, and have a bite to eat, and kind of check out the range so that you know what to expect when you arrive the next morning for the first day of training. And so all those things were really important to us, centrally located, close to a major airport, close to amenities, close to hotels, and in a good range facility, which this absolutely qualifies for that. They actually host the Cowboy Action, like World Shooting Championships, are frequently held at this range every couple of years. because it's that kind of facility. It's able to support large events. And most of the classes we teach are in shooting bays that are where this cowboy action shooting area is at. And it's a lot of fun. It's I've been to ranges that have cowboy action, you know, like old style cowboy town facades and things like that. And that's kind of all it is like a wall and with some windows and doorways that, you know, people shoot through. These are like actual buildings on every single one of these shooting bays, like legit structures. The nice thing about that is that there's plenty of opportunities to get out of the heat or out of the sun and get into some shade where it's a little bit cooler. If we have inclement weather, there's plenty of shelter for that, so people are not getting wet. But to that point, we always schedule this the third weekend of September, and which one of the reasons why we chose that date is, historically speaking, looking at decades of weather data, that is like the best weekend of the year to hold this conference in terms of avoiding all of the crappy weather. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and it's not terribly likely. I'm not going to promise it. We have had rain at the event, but it's not very common that we see inclement weather during the 3 days of the Guardian Conference. And I kind of went into a little bit down a tangent there, Michael. I know you're kind of scrolling up, and we were talking about some of the courses, but I wanted to make sure I shared some of that. That's you know, important. It's again, part of the story of this event is we want it to be easy, sorry, that didn't come out right. We want it to be an easy no-brainer for people to be able to travel there easily and take the training, and we want them to be focused on the training. That's why one of the reasons why it was important to us that we make sure that the lunches and other meals and things like that are provided throughout the training weekend, because we don't want you having to think about, oh, I got to pack my lunch for tomorrow. I got, you know, day 2, day 3 of training, and I'm exhausted, but I still got to, you know, make plans for, you know, having something to eat on the range and having snacks and things like that. We got plenty of water. We got plenty of you know, food. You might want to bring a couple of snacks, but everything else is taken care of. And we want you just to show up and focus on learning.
There you go. Okay, so we've talked a little about the courses, and I want people to go to guardianconference.com and go down there and look at the instructors, the course titles, the description, the length, what the round count, if any. You're going to get a really good idea. You're going to get the idea that you need for how you need to approach this, what you need to be prepared for. And you've talked about the location, amenities, that kind of thing. But what mindset are people needing to bring to this? I'd like to understand some of that.
Well, we want anybody who is serious about personal defense or concealed carry that, you know, has an open mind and wants to learn. And what's nice about that is it's open to all skill levels. So, and we see that every year. We see attendees that are brand new, like this is their first formal training event they've ever attended. Like maybe they've had like a concealed carry class or something that was like super basic, and this is really their first real training that they've ever truly attended. We've got plenty of people that attend that would fit into that category. We have people that are very skilled, highly skilled. We have other instructors that come to the conference just because it's a great opportunity for them to, you know, continue, you know, because and I think it's the mark, frankly, Michael, of a good instructor is someone that is continuing to learn, right? And it's kind of, you know, in a way doing like continuing education sort of thing. Like I make it a point to try to make, you know, other people's training classes as I have opportunities throughout the year myself, even though I'm an instructor, because it helps me be a better instructor. And so we have other instructors that attend that are very skilled, that are very knowledgeable, and will, you know, have a good reputation in the industry that come just because it's a great event. In fact, I'm thinking of one guy who came this, I think, last year for his first time, and I know he's coming back and bringing his son. He is a high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He owns a gym and trains people in combatives and hand-to-hand fighting and jiu-jitsu at a very high level. And he's also a very, very skilled shooter as well. And he came out this last year, had an awesome time. He's like, I'm coming back. And he's bringing his son too, his adult son, who he wants, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to come and get this training, right? And so that's just one example. We had a couple, husband and wife from Guatemala, come to the conference, not this last year, a couple years ago. They heard about it through my podcast, actually, the Concealed Carry podcast, and they're like, that sounds like a great event. And they came and they had a wonderful time, even though they're from Guatemala, and gun laws there are different in many respects, but there's some similarities there. They're able, where they are able to actually have concealed carry permits in Guatemala. And that was important to them. They don't have a lot of training opportunities though in Guatemala, especially for like personal defensive type training. And so they came to the Guardian Conference and got a lot out of it. So the point is, we have people from kind of all walks of life, again, from beginner level to highly advanced. So we have police and military service members that have attended and frequently do attend each year. So people of all walks of life and different maybe mindsets, as far as like they might have a different purpose. For some people it's because of their job. For some people it's just because, hey, I want to be a better defender as a parent of my children. I got to protect them. And so all walks of life, all different mindsets, but the thing that unites us all at the Guardian Conference is a desire to learn, an open mind, and a great opportunity that lies before us to spend 3 days with some of the nation's best trainers, learning how to do this better.
Well, just for some perspective, for those of you listening that haven't done much of this before, I'm glad to hear Riley mention that it's for all walks of life and it's for every skill level. I'm really glad to hear him talk about people who come there that are trainers. I mean, the truth of the matter is, and I don't remember who this quote, and I'll butcher it. It's attributed to someone I don't remember, but something along the lines of, learners will inherit the earth. The learned find themselves equipped to deal with the world that changed yesterday, and or something along those lines. And it just happens to be true. So I have a tremendous respect for people who say, yeah, I'm pretty good at what I do, and I would balance my skill amongst just about anybody. But oh, by the way, I want to continue learning. I want to pick up things. I want to hone and practice and take care of this perishable skill. So I have a great respect for that. But going back to the pricing level and what you're putting together here, for those of you that don't have any of this context, if you go out and take a course from a reputable trainer that's very, very good, you could spend a pretty fair amount of money for an afternoon. And you're talking about 1, 2, 3 days, for depending on your level of participation and whether you have you get in on the early bird bargain or you're a concealed carry. What would you call it? Your concealed carry member.
The Guardian. Yeah, our membership is called Guardian Nation.
Yes. Sorry.
Hundreds and hundreds of members over the last decade or so that pay a little bit each month to have access to a bunch of member benefits. This is just one of them, and this is a pretty big one because you get a pretty significant discount.
So Guardian Nation members, if you bought early, you're going to get the whole thing for $550. Worst case scenario, you're not a member and you wait until just before the enrollment ends, you'll be at $800. Find me training like this great, this diverse, tremendous facilities, meals and amenities provided, all those things. Find me something else that you can do in that price range. I think that you've worked very hard, or it's obvious you worked very hard to make this very competitive and very easy, because this pricing level is very, very good. Kudos to you and your group, because you probably should be charging more. Nobody's going to want to hear me say that, but the truth of the matter, you probably should be charging more.
Well, it's funny you say that, because we say that ourselves quite a bit. But here, that's one of the defining characteristics of everything we do at concealedcarry.com is we've always wanted to provide quality. I want to say the best. Yes, it is the best. I think this is frankly the best training event in the country especially for citizen defenders. But we want to provide quality, like good quality, whether it's training or products or anything that we do at concealedcarry.com. We have always wanted to provide quality at a reasonable price. It's always been something that's important to us because we know that it's challenging at times to, you know, I mean, because most citizen defenders, concealed carriers, whatever, have a lot on our plates. I mean, we have normal day-to-day life and jobs and family and school and church and things to take care of, and things, you know, expenses all over the place. And you know, everyone knows that inflation has not been kind to any of us the last few years. And frankly, I've seen inflation, you know, as I look at the training industry as a whole, I've seen prices go up and up and up and up and up. And if I was to be truly transparent, we did raise prices for the conference a couple years ago, but very modestly. It wasn't, I mean, $50 or $100 or something like that. But we haven't raised it since. And part of that's because, you know, we want to make sure that it's still an affordable price, but we're providing the best quality that we can. And as you saw there, you have the Guardian Nation member price, which is $550 right now. That's an early bird price for Guardian Nation members. But even if you're not a Guardian Nation member, still the early bird price is in effect for $700. It's a $100 discount from the normal event price. Part of the reason why, you know, we're trying to get the word out a little bit right now about the event is that your early bird price is going to go away. I don't have a hard set date on that. It has more to do with when we hit a certain enrollment level, we take the early bird price away. And so I don't know when that's going to be, but I will just say it'll probably be fairly soon. Like, I wouldn't wait more than a few weeks, or maybe, I can't even promise a month, but it won't be very long and that early bird price will go away. So right now, that's a heck of a value. Here's the other thing. People are like, well, I'm not a Guardian Nation member. Guess what? You can become a member. And in fact, when you're checking out, it'll probably prompt you if you want to become a member. And here's the thing. I'll just give you the dirty hack. And frankly, we are willing to make this this challenge, if you will, to issue this challenge, that because we believe so much in the services and the products we provide. And that is that, hey, if you want to just sign up for Guardian Nation membership for a month, which is $38.45. If you want to just pay for 1 month of Guardian Nation membership and get the discounted Guardian Conference ticket price, which is a $250 discount off of the regular full price, and you want to cancel that membership after that first month, or before that renewal kicks in, you know, after the first month, go ahead. Like, you want to take advantage of that, go ahead. We'd love for you to stick around, obviously, and we think that many of you probably will once you see all the other benefits, because one of the many benefits is access to hundreds of hours of training content in a members only video training library, which, you know, people that are serious about this stuff, they see a lot of value in that. We've worked really hard over the years to put together dozens and dozens of video training courses on a variety of topics. We just got done filming one a few months ago that, speaking of pistol optics, people are really interested in it. Well, we put together a very comprehensive 7+ hour video training course on everything to do with pistol optics on pistols. And we're getting ready in a few weeks to film a course that's focused on low light, use of light in dark environments, and how to shoot and use, you know, proper tactics in a low light environment. We're getting ready to film that here in a couple of weeks, just to give you a little bit of a teaser about, you know, some stuff that's coming. There's many other reasons to be a member of Guardian Nation, but including discounts. You see it right there on the screen. 20% off of CCW Safe membership, which frankly, you can't get a 20% off discount of CCW Safe, to my knowledge, anywhere else. So that's a big savings right there. And there's many other things to consider being a Guardian Nation member for. But if you want to, hey, I'll just give you the dirty little hack and just join for 1 month and get that $550 Guardian Conference price, be my guest. Perhaps you'll check out those other things and go, oh, actually, this is kind of cool, and stick around. And I'm willing to take that risk, I guess you could say.
All right. So we know when the Guardian Conference is. This is what, in September? Let me get it poked out. The 18th, 19th, and 20th, Oklahoma City. We know, so we know where it is. We know what's happening. We know why we should do it. We got the down and dirty on the costing structure, and you gave us the keys to the kingdom on how to do this inexpensively. I don't think there's anything left. I mean, why shouldn't I do this? That's what we should be asking ourselves right now. Why is there a reason for me not to do this? If you've got to be out of the country at that time in September, okay, maybe you've got some other considerations. Otherwise, this is pretty interesting stuff. It gives me a lot of ideas. I got to tell you.
I'll play devil's advocate. I'll give you one reason why not. Because you're going to you're going to show up and you're going to expend about 3/4 to a full case of ammo, and that's just terrible. I can't imagine anybody would want to shoot 700-800 rounds over 3 days.
Yes. No, that's very good. I'm really tickled. I appreciate it. Was there anything else that we needed to get across to folks before I let you go? Because I really appreciate you be willing to come on the show and talk to us about this stuff and let us know about it, because I feel kind of bad saying this, Riley, but honest to goodness, I didn't know about the Guardian Conference before you emailed us. So, and I'm not saying that I would know everything there is to know about those things, but I usually do. So yeah. I need to make sure that we're putting it out there far and wide so other folks understand. So is there anything that we've missed that we need to go over?
I don't think so, but that's one of the reasons why we're making the effort to put the word out in through podcasts and other various mediums this year, because I mean, like we've talked to people, and including friends of ours. They're like, well, we had no idea about this, that was even a thing. And Jacob and I are like, we could do a better job of making sure all of our friends and kind of associated websites and organizations and people that we know in the industry know about this opportunity of the Guardian Conference and know a little bit about it, and why we're doing it. And we hope that people will want to join us there. We think it's a great time. And as I mentioned, it's turned into a little bit of a family. We'd invite you to join our family, because you'll see what I'm talking about when you're there, when you're on site. You spend a couple of days with us and all the wonderful people that are there. You'll meet some people that have been there all 6 years when you're there this year in September. You'll meet some people it's their first year. You'll meet some people that it's their second or third or fourth year. And you'll find out that these are people that are like you, that believe in many of the same things. You're going to have wonderful conversations at lunchtime. You're going to sit across a picnic table with a sandwich in your hand and a Diet Coke in your other hand or whatever, and you're going to be talking about Jesus or gospel or kids in school or sports or gun stuff, because you just can't get enough gun stuff, even though you're there for 3 days of training and you just want to shoot the breeze with somebody that's like-minded and talk guns. You're going to just, I think, absolutely fall in love with our family, and we hope that you'll come and join us there.
Fantastic. So Riley Bowman, he was talking to us about the Guardian Conference. That's guardianconference.com. And he's spending his time with us primarily through concealedcarry.com. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And everybody get out there, do this thing, read about it, and stop talking yourself out of doing these things. That's my biggest pet peeve. You guys listen to this, that you had ought to do this. So don't manufacture a reason to not do it. Get out there and do it. And then send these guys a note. Get back with IFC. Say, listen, Riley was right. I should have done this a long time ago. I had a tremendous experience. IFC, I'm glad you had them on because it made a difference in my life. And now I'll be able to make a difference in somebody else's. So these kinds of conversations, Riley, are a force multiplier for what had ought to happen in the world. I thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Michael.